Here are 5 paranormal hoaxes that fooled many people, including myself. Number 5. Spirit photography. Following the American Civil War and the assassination of Abe Lincoln, there was a huge surge in interest in the paranormal. This is a common occurrence after many national tragedies. When terror strikes a nation, usually some new paranormal trend emerges. Spirit photography is the art of taking pictures with the dead. The most famous spiritual photographer was William H. Mumler. His most famous work was a picture of the ghost of Abraham Lincoln with his widow, Mary Todd. While Mumler enjoyed fame and success for a little while, he was eventually exposed as a fraud. This happened when people realized that many of the supposed ghosts in his photography were still then living Bostonians. Nevertheless, as anyone who watches any ghost hunting TV shows will tell you, spirit photography is still alive and well at the present day. Number 4. The Cottingley Fairies. At the end of World War I, in the small town of Cottingley, England, 2 little girls named Elsie and Frances supposedly took pictures with fairies. These photos were created in the girls' hometown and gained them national attention in England. They also gained the enthusiastic support of none other than Sherlock Holmes' author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. While there were certainly skeptics of these fairy photographs from the very beginning, many believers in the paranormal defended them for decades. When Frances and Elsie were old women, however, they admitted that the whole thing was just a hoax. Number 3. The surgeon's photo of the Loch Ness Monster. While interest in Nessie predates the 1934 photograph, this is the image most associated with the beast that supposedly dwells in the Loch Ness. It is called the surgeon's photograph because it was submitted to the Daily Mail by Robert Kenneth Wilson, a London gynecologist who refused to attach his name to the image. In the 6 decades that followed the release of the picture, skeptics dismissed it as everything from driftwood to an elephant from a traveling circus taking a dip inside of the lake. In the 90s, it became obvious that the whole thing was a hoax. It was orchestrated by a man named Marmaduke Wetherall. Marmaduke was mad with the Daily Mail because they had humiliated him for earlier work he had done on the Loch Ness Monster. To get them back, he took a toy submarine and attached a wooden putty neck which he had made himself to the top of it. He then proceeded to take several pictures of it within the Loch Ness. The one that turned out the best would become the famous surgeon's photo. This photograph reached Wilson from Wetherall through a mutual friend who helped set up the prank. Number 2. Crop circles. While the concept certainly goes back much further, crop circles exploded in popularity in the 1970s, and the term crop circle was coined in the 1980s. These elaborate field patterns were believed by supporters of the paranormal and fringe conspiracy theorists to be evidence of alien life visiting the Earth and leaving these signals for us. One of the reasons why people believe this is because many of these crop circles formed quite elaborate and beautiful patterns. It is hard to fathom how something so beautiful and complicated could simply be made by people pulling an elaborate prank. Despite this sentiment, however, we now know that this is exactly what crop circles are. At the beginning of the 1990s, 2 pranksters came forward. They demonstrated how crop circles could be made using very simple tools. These 2 men, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley, said that they originated the craze in the 1970s themselves. They made a new crop circle right in front of reporters by simply using tools such as wooden planks and rope. This showed how anyone anywhere could make crop circles with very low-tech equipment. Unlike the other numbers on this countdown, number 2 was essentially debunked as an entire phenomenon rather than just a picture. While one could still believe in the Loch Ness Monster, for example, even though the surgeon's photo is debunked, it no longer seems like the believer in crop circles has the same option. Before we get to the number 1 slot, I want to say thank you for listening and I hope you're enjoying this video. My name is Starboy and I upload content every Wednesday and Saturday. As Halloween gets closer and closer, more of it will focus on examinations of claims of the paranormal and the supernatural. If this sounds like the sort of thing that interests you, please consider clicking the subscribe button and liking below. Number 1. The Alien Autopsy film. Out of all the spots on our countdown, the number 1 choice has the distinction of being the only one which creeped me out as a child. It is also the only videotape. In 1995, a black and white videotape emerged. This tape supposedly showed an alien being dissected on the autopsy table. It was put forth by entrepreneur Ray Santilli. Ray stated that it was a legitimate videotape of an alien. The alien in the film, he argued, was recovered from a crash at Roswell, New Mexico in the 1940s. While the tape enjoyed its fair share of skeptics, many enthusiastically embraced it from the beginning. The crowning achievement of this hoax is that it was aired during a Fox television special in 1995. The special, which was hosted by Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek The Next Generation, was called Alien Autopsy, Fact or Fiction. The special itself praised the tape and came just short of endorsing it as authentic. After the Alien tape initially aired on the Fox network, the network re-aired it a couple times. Each time it got very high viewership, and at least on one occasion this exceeded over 11 million viewers. Over a decade later, in 2006, Santilli himself admitted that this tape was not legitimate. Santilli, however, doubled down. He argued that he had seen a real Roswell tape, but it was too damaged to show. Thus, he had recreated it to the best of his ability, and that this tape even had bits of film from that authentic tape, although he has never shown or tried to demonstrate which parts. While we may laugh and sneer at people who fall for such hoaxes, we need to admit that everyone can fall for these, including ourselves. After all, I was one of those kids who watched the Fox special as a child and was terrified by it. With that said, that concludes this top 5. If you liked it and want this show to continue, please like below and subscribe. And until next time, stay skeptical and thanks for watching.